Good morning. We're here today to pick some elderflower. It is now the 5th of June and elderflower starts blossoming end of May, beginning of June. We need the elderflower that is completely out in flower. So that one is out in flower because we need as much pollen as possible to do what we want to do with it. That one hasn't come out yet. And that one, you can see, has more or less finished, so we don't want any of those. So the elderflower we are going to pick is going to look like that. What we're going to do with it today is we're going to do 4 things. We're going to learn how to make elderflower tea. We are going to dry some to keep it for the future because fresh elderflower won't keep, obviously, for any length of time. We're going to make some elderflower syrup, which will also be a preserved form of elderflower, and we are going to make some elderflower fritters. Very yummy. Any herb or plant that you pick that you want to do anything with, you have to pick it on a bright sunny day after the dew has gone from the plant. So it's now around about 10 o'clock in the morning and it's been sunshiny all morning and the plant is still a little bit wet. Not ideal. I'd prefer it to be a little drier than that, but it has rained quite a lot in the night. So this is what we're going to pick today. Pick the whole flower, like that. And then just remember that all these plants are wild, and if it belongs to anybody else you need to get their permission to pick it. And also, when you do pick anything that you're allowed to pick, leave behind quite a lot of it, otherwise it won't set berries and seeds, because in the autumn we'll come back and we'll get elderflower berries to make elderflower berry syrup or wine or jelly. I love elderberry jelly. So here's our lovely basket full of elderflowers now. One thing I forgot to tell you is whenever you pick a plant in the wild or even in your garden, if you have animals, always pick from above waist height, because there's a chance that an animal, even if it's domestic dogs or a fox, whatever, can have weed on the bottom bit and soiled it. So always pick from waist height and above. So we're going to go home now and then we will show you what to do with that. Now that we're home, the first thing I'm going to do with this elderflower is spread it out on this piece of paper. This is a clean bit of couch roll that I've got. You can use any paper that you like as long as it's nice and clean, and any colour, it doesn't really matter. And the reason I am going to do that is because I don't really want to wash this elderflower. We've picked it from quite high. It rained last night, so it should be quite clean, but I do want the insects to crawl out of it. And the minute you pick a flower, the insects will think, don't like that, and they will get the hell out of there. So all I'm going to do is spread that all over here. I don't know if you can see that, but you can already see all the insects are crawling out of the elderflower. So you just leave it there and they'll all climb out and then we'll have nice clean elderflower after that. Here we are. We are going to make elderflower cordial with some of the elderflowers that we've picked. Elderflowers are antiviral, antibacterial, anticatarrhal. They are fantastic if you have got a cold because they help cut the catarrh and help you fight the virus. And also they taste nice and it's a nice warming, soothing drink. To make the cordial we have got 3 lemons washed and sliced, 3 litres of boiling water, that's just come off the hob, 1 kilogram of granulated sugar, that's just the ordinary sugar that people put in their teas and coffees. 50 grams of citric acid. You will need to buy that in a pharmacy, they keep it behind the counter, it's only cheap. And then our freshly picked elderflowers, which have come in from the garden after standing around for about an hour so that all the insects could crawl out of them. Very, very easy to make elderflower cordial. Now the thing is that obviously the elderflower, if you put it in water on its own, will make a lovely tea, as you've seen in another video, but it won't keep for any length of time. So if you want to keep an elderflower cordial, juice, whatever, you need to do something to it to make it keep for some length of time. And to do that, we are going to add the lemons, the sugar, and the citric acid. The lemons have got 2 acids in them, ascorbic acid and citric acid. Ascorbic acid is very high in, ascorbic acid is vitamin C, and citric acid acts as a preservative. So the lemons are providing us with those 2 things. Those are going to go straight into the boiling water, and because it's hot, be careful, and I usually use a spoon to put it in. There we go, that's all you do with that. Keep that spoon there, because the next thing that's going to go in is the sugar. So that whole packet, 1 kilogram of sugar, straight into the boiling water. And then just give it a stir, because the sugar will dissolve in that water. Don't put it back on the hob. You don't want it to boil again. Just give it a stir. And you'll feel when all the sugar's dissolved, because you won't get that grittiness at the bottom. And also, you get some kind of really fantastic chemical reaction going on in there. When the sugar crystals have dissolved in the water, it all goes beautifully clear. You can see that's starting to happen now. Yep, there we go. Okay, I can feel that's nice and clear at the bottom. So that's all dissolved in there. And then this whole, that's 50 grams in there, so this whole packet of citric acid is going in. And again, give it a good stir. Now, citric acid, as I said, is going to act as a preservative for us, but it is a naturally occurring acid. And if you come and have a look at that, you'll see that it's gone really beautifully clear in there. So you know that all the sugar and all the citric acid has now dissolved. Okay, and now I'm going to put the elderflower in. I'm going to put as much elderflower in there as I can possibly get. And again, be careful, because that's hot, so don't push it down with your fingers. I think that'll probably do. Yeah, perfect. I'm not going to give you a quantity, as in grams or kilos or how many flowers to put in, because you can use your own judgment to fill that water up with flowers. So that, I think, is absolutely perfect. Let me just move that tray out of the way. We're not going to put a lid on that because that will evaporate slightly overnight. All we're going to do with it, and this is why it's so easy to make, is we're going to leave it to stand for 24 hours. The other thing that is going to act as a preservative in there is obviously the sugar. And whenever you make a cordial or a syrup or jam, it is the sugar that also acts as a preservative. The high quantity of sugar will stop bacteria and mould growing in that cordial, or if you're making jam, it'll stop the mould growing in the jam. All I'm going to do with this now is cover it with a clean tea towel, voila, and leave that now for 24 hours. That has now been standing for slightly over 24 hours because I didn't have time to do it earlier. And to bottle that up, we need a glass bowl, a colander. If you've got an old muslin, clean muslin nappy anywhere, that's perfect. If not, use a tea towel and a jug, a pouring jug of some sort, and some bottles to put it in. What we're going to do is put the colander on top of the glass bowl, put the muslin nappy inside the colander so it's completely covered, like that, and then pour what you've been steeping overnight, pour that in there. I won't do it all for now because I just want to show you how to do it. Whilst that is straining, I'm going to explain to you about the bottles. Now, you'll remember that I told you that the secret of this is that we want it so that it preserves itself. So we put sugar, ascorbic acid and citric acid. And the other big factor in that is that you don't want the bottles to be unsterilised. Now, to sterilise the bottles, it's dead easy. I've already done these, so I'm not going to do them again. You take the bottle, the cold glass bottle, and you put it in the oven whilst the oven isn't on. So oven turned off, put the glass bottle into the oven. You then turn the oven onto 160 degrees C, and then you leave the glass bottles in there until the oven reaches temperature, and then leave it in there for about 10 minutes after that. When that's happened, turn the oven off and leave the whole lot to get cold, because you can't pour a cold liquid into a hot bottle, otherwise the bottle will crack, and vice versa. You can't put a hot liquid into a cold bottle because then the bottle will crack. So whatever temperature of liquid you're pouring into a bottle, you need them to be the same temperatures. So those bottles have been in the oven and then left to go cold. And what we're going to do now is, there's probably enough in there for me to show you. Take that off there. Just rest it on top of that. And then put this into the glass jug. Here we go, wish me luck. Yay! Not a drop spilt. Perfect. And then, let's move this out of the way. We're going to pour it into these bottles. That's it. Fill it up as much as you can, because that also prevents air getting in there. Put the lid on there. Ooh, why is the lid not going on? That's it. And then lock it down tight. These bottles you can usually get in any big supermarket, and these ones are Kilner, but any glass bottle that will take a cold liquid is fine, and obviously will go in the oven to be heated up. So that is it. That is your elderflower cordial. Now, because it's good practice, and because in a couple of months' time you're going to look at that and think, what earth have I put in there? It's a good idea to label it. So all I put on there is elderflower cordial and the date, so that you know when you made it. There we go. The other thing that you could do with it is that you could put it, if you don't want to keep it in bottles, you can put it into freezer bags, and then, you know, the ice cube bags, and put it in the freezer, and then that will store. But if you're not going to drink that very quickly, I think it's a good idea to put it in the fridge to keep it. But if you're going to drink it quite quickly over the next 2-3 months, it's fine. It'll be all right on the side in a dark place. Remember, light always increases bacteria and fungal growth. So just put it in a nice cupboard somewhere, cool and dark, and it will be absolutely fine. Okay? I'm going to taste that now. And because it's a cordial, it needs diluting. So I've put about that much water in the glass. I'm going to fill that up with my elderflower cordial. Give it a stir. Have a taste. You'll enjoy that. A few ice cubes in there, and you'll really enjoy that as a refreshing summer drink.